let's talk about Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Now, for those of you who didn't watch World's End or you didn't read the news for 2 weeks, MJF lost his AEW championship to Samoa Joe at World's End. His best friend, Adam Cole, Bay is the devil, betrayed him.
Adam.
He lost his championship at World's End, and now he's out of action. So, best friend, he's considering 2 options for his shoulder injury, by the way. His shoulder's injured, and he's deciding on surgery or rehab. Now, surgery would sideline him for a year, but potentially provide a more permanent solution, and rehab might allow him to return sooner, but could risk the issue of coming back. Now, he's a young guy. MJF, according to certain news stories, he's leaning towards rehab unless doctors strongly advise otherwise. Now, what do you guys think? How long do you feel like MJF is going to be out of the picture? Do you feel like he's going to return like John Cena in 2008 in the Royal Rumble? He had a torn pectoral muscle, or I forgot what the specific injury was, but he was supposed to be out for a year. Comes back in 4 months. Do you think that's what MJF is going to pull? Do you feel like he's coming back to AEW? Maybe he's going to show at the fucking Rumble. What do you guys think about the situation of MJF right now?
I like to think he's an AEW guy, to be honest. I know he did a lot of talking, like if he was going to go to WWE for a while, like last year especially, like that was kind of his thing. But I don't know. The more I've been seeing him, I don't know. The more I feel him, just more as an AEW guy. Like he knows, like he's done a lot there. He wants to continue to do more there. But time off, I would say 6 months to a year, even with either option. Because, he can come back and make a big pop and help bring ratings back. I would definitely see that if he made a surprise return. I mean, it'd be cool if he came back and did the double gimmick again. I don't know. Maybe that'd be kind of interesting. Because they'd be like, oh, he's injured, so there's no way, right? But I don't know. There's so much they can do with him because he's such a talent of their roster. So I definitely would say 6 to 8 months for sure, guaranteed he's going to be gone. But I don't see him jumping ship, at least just not yet. But I would be worried to see what he would what WWE would do with him if they took him. Because I don't know, not that they couldn't figure it out, but like we've both all been saying that WWE's roster is pretty stacked right now. Like if you dropped MJF there, what can you do? It'd be interesting to see.
That's fair. I mean, I think that with MJF, we were talking about this before the podcast, but there are things. I mean, you mentioned that specific storyline where MJF has been teasing that in 2024 his contract is going to end, and he is basically up in the air in terms of his decision about where he wants to go. If it's going to be WWE, if it's going to be AEW. And for whatever reason, I don't understand this personally, but Tony Khan and AEW have removed him from the roster, and they are kind of feeding into this storyline that maybe he'll jump into WWE. But I personally don't understand, how does that benefit AEW? People are going to want to tune into AEW. Why? Because MJF might or might not show up? I don't understand. David, Chris, you guys watch AEW. Where do you feel this MJF thing is going?
I would say, well, just to kind of go back to the injury thing, I think he's going to take off more time, and I think he needs to take off more time because this face heel anti-hero thing, I think it's kind of stayed its welcome, overstayed its welcome. So I think it would do him good if he took off 6 months. I would say at least 6 months to just kind of get him back. But again, depending what the state of AEW is and the storylines kind of going on, I think he would benefit just being more of the heel type. Although I think he just needs time. I think this current version of MJF just needs to kind of go away for a while, and he needs to kind of rehab his character more specifically.
Like the lovable scumbag, you think it's run its course?
I think so. Yeah. What you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be gone to at least Double or Nothing. I think if he comes back, he should come back at Double or Nothing, which is their Memorial Day pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Him as a face is turned, like Chris was saying, it's kind of turned into like a super corn dog kind of thing. And it'd be nice for him to come back to a pop and then just do something so dastardly he just gets booed out the building.
Yeah.
What do you think the percentage is of Maxwell Jacob Friedman showing up in a WWE ring this year?
I think I want to know what his contract looks like, because I wouldn't be surprised if Tony gave him like free reign to like kind of go about where he kind of wants depending on the situation. So I feel like his contract might not even have like a non-compete clause. That would be interesting, where he would make where I see the benefit for AEW is if he just showed up at the Royal Rumble as just like a one-off. I mean, that's like, okay, well, now you exposed this specific guy to a different audience, because there is definitely a percentage of people that are just strictly WWE and not
Guaranteed.
AEW. So I think if even if it was a one-off, I think it would get some eyes. I don't know what the percentage that would be to the AEW product if he did that, but I'm guessing that's why maybe he's off the roster. That's the only thing I can guess.
I think it's a work. I think they personally did that as a to make people think, because honestly, that's kind of been like the giveaway nowadays is the websites. Someone's either removed, like when Punk went back to WWE, he was added on TJ Lemoni's side. And then same thing when he was gone from AEW, they removed them. So I feel like maybe AEW might have noticed that as a trendy kind of thing, or they're like, oh, if they're on the website or if they're not on it, that pretty much confirms it. So maybe I feel like they're just doing that.
What do you think the
ensure that-
AEW logic is, though? Like, how does it benefit them to play into this idea that maybe he'll jump to the other ship? Why would that? Why would the promotion that is objectively basically the Pepsi to the Coke of wrestling? Why would they want to play into that idea?
Just to give it as more of an element of surprise, to be like, oh, we removed him on it. That's going to make people talk. They're going to think, oh, he's going to be jumping over. So, and when time goes on, he doesn't. You know, pay-per-view after pay-per-view, season after season, he's still not in WWE. And then he just magically shows up at like maybe Bound for Glory or something in AEW or something, and it's like, oh crap, no, he's actually still here, you know. So I think it's just I think they're doing it like to plant the seeds for like the future. I don't think he's going over to WWE. If he does, it's a 50-50 chance, which doesn't really guarantee anything. It can go one way or the other, but I personally think they just did that as a work. They're just doing that because it would make sense too, because like I said, Punk being added to the alumni, he showed up, and that's what everyone was saying. Oh crap, that confirms it, and he did. So I feel they might have noticed that and they're like, hey, let's just do that again, make people think that, and then he'll just show up back on one of our shows later. The element of surprise.
I think that's fair. I think if the earliest that I would hope that he shows up is All In, because if there was a show that he will debut at, I think obviously if there's a storyline involved, he'll show up in the Dynamites or Collisions beforehand. But if there's a place that he actually wrestles for the first time this year after he gets injured and recovered, I think it should be All In. Now, if it requires a longer recovery period, I think that's the smartest option, because they have had a track record of a lot of people being injured recently, right? And I feel like if you're going to risk that for this person, you know, the smartest thing for AEW would be to let him recover to his fullest extent and, you know, come back healthy, not injured, not trying to nurse like a nagging elbow or leg or whatever, because I feel like a lot of wrestlers kind of hide their pain and try to, like, you know, wrestle through the pain. And I think that's a bad idea for AEW's then, because then everyone's just going to injure it all at once. And then you're going to have to try and figure out storylines for the rest of the year, because half your roster is on the shelf, the good ones. So
Danielson,
exactly.
wrestling with one arm and
one arm, one eyeball.
I can see right now, give it like 6 months. And if Adam Cole wins the title, let's just say in AEW, that's when you can see MJF starting to make his return. Because, oh, hey, like you betrayed me and I'm back now. Like, who is he going to go after? You would think Adam Cole would be the first guy he goes after. So if you put the belt on Adam Cole, you put the belt on him. That's when you can start to speculate that MJF is going to, it's going to be a while. But yeah, I can see that. Because he's going to be a heel. He's going to stay heel all the way through. I see it at least.
I agree. Any final thoughts, David, Chris? What do you guys think about MJF and his future in AEW?
He ain't leaving.
He ain't leaving? I'm leaning towards that too.
I would say
he's got another contract.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He like there was that speculation that he silently signed a contract. So I'm guessing I would lean more towards that because I mean, if you have the opportunity to just be the biggest guy in the company, I don't see why he'd want to throw that away. Because just looking at the male roster on WWE, it's like where do you put him? In this current state of the roster, like, and the storylines that are happening, it's just like too stacked. So it wouldn't make sense for him to be like just jumping ship to WWE, at least in the current state. So
yeah,
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think the current roster is in WWE is way too stacked right now. There's so many people that have the potential to be in a title feud or in the main event. You got Cody Rhodes, you got Roman Reigns, you got LA Knight, you got Randy Orton. You have AJ Styles, you have all these, you have Shinsuke Nakamura, right? You have all these people who can potentially be in the main event. And MJF is absolutely a main event star. I don't think if you're going to be introducing him to WWE, you're going to throw him in an Intercontinental. But to be fair, Gunther also main event star, Intercontinental champion, probably going to go for the title this year. But again, way too many people. I think he would be lost in the shuffle. But let's end that there. I think you guys made some great points about MJF, and I definitely agree that MJF will be back in AEW, probably by All In, and I hope he takes as much time to recover from his injuries.
Cody Rhodes.